So we're having fun. I have ideas about what I want to talk about, obviously. And then I get here in front of you and I think, okay, exactly how do I want to start? And so Angie said, I know, dearly beloved, we're gathered here today to get through this thing called life. She goes, well, it's truthful. So there you go, a little Prince for your morning. We are gathered together to get through this thing called life, but to get through it and not just survive it, but thrive in it. And so we're talking about adventure this whole month, and today is all about unleashing your adventure. Unleashing. I want to tell you a lot more about specifically what I mean about unleashing your adventure. But first I want to tell you something that I experienced when I first went into a Science of Mind center back in the late 90s. I walked in, I'd been there a couple of times, and this guy said to me, hey Christy, you know what? Your dreams are waiting for you to come true. And I thought, that's weird. I've never heard that before. That's a little, what does he mean by that? And he kind of caught me off guard, and I wasn't sure what to think of that, but I kept thinking about it. I was like, he seemed so excited to reveal this major truth to me. And I kept thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it. And I've thought about it over the years, and it's become more and more apparent, the truth in that statement, that our dreams are waiting for us to come true. In other words, we have these dreams, this adventure for life that is there, and it's complete. It's already complete in the mind and heart of God. We are the ones that get to unleash it into the world by living wholeheartedly, I believe. As Brene Brown would say, that comes from courage, compassion, and connection. Living wholeheartedly in this life. I would add to living with courage, compassion, and connection, I would add to that leaving it all on the court. I had the great opportunity to perform a benefit concert for one of my favorite venues recently, the Evening Muse. They've been closed for 8 months because of COVID, and so they're doing these virtual concerts online, right? So you go in live, you go in and perform, but there's no one there, so it's kind of weird. But it was a lot of fun, and I gave it my all, right? And I just really was into it the entire hour. And afterwards, I was like, what is it about performing? I always want to eat afterwards. And Joe said, the guy that runs the Muse, he said, well, you left it on the court. And I hadn't thought of that phrase since my basketball days, leave it all on the court. Don't save any for the next game. Leave it all, give it all you got. Just get out there and give it all you have. And that's the thing. It reminds me of Dr. Deborah Johnson. I heard her say one time, a friend of mine, she said, bring your A game to everything. And that's what we get the opportunity to choose. One of my teachers, Reverend Dr. Lisa Stewart, always says, I invite you to join me now, or I invite you to try it, or I invite you. And I used to think, why does she say that all the time? And I think it's because everything's an invitation, but it's up to us to make the choice, right? It's up to us to unleash our adventure or to stay in our little robot way of living. This adventure of finding the next adventure spot has been it's been something else, and it's so interesting to me how it pushes me to my comfort zone, because believe it or not, I kind of like to know where I'm going to be speaking from instead of it's somewhere in the Great Smokies, right? So we're driving around the Blue Ridge Parkway today looking like, okay, well, it's really need to find a place soon, really need to get this party started soon, so let's find our place. And not knowing until we get to the spot that, that's it. And having the faith that it's there, just waiting. That perfect spot is there just waiting, just like our perfect adventure in life is there just waiting for us to unleash it. And so, bringing our A game to everything. Back to my friend Deborah Johnson. I heard her say once that, we have the same amount of energy to worry or to fulfill our purpose. We can choose where we direct it. That same amount of energy, if we split it, then we're not giving our all. We're not bringing our A game to everything. We're not leaving it all on the court. If we're giving some of our energy to doubt and worry and fear, instead of recognizing that it's there within us, wanting to come through, wanting to come out. It's kind of like the universe is delivering. It's a FedEx, right? It's a delivery system. The universe is delivering constantly what we say we want, but we have to sign for the package. We have to be accepting and allowing that to be unleashed. I read something recently that said, "How does one become a butterfly?" She asked pensively. "You must want to fly so much that you're willing to give up being a caterpillar." We have to be willing to give up being the caterpillar if we want to be the butterfly, if we want to transform into a life that is an unleashed adventure. In the board meeting recently with our beloved board of this beloved community, Lisa Lee said, we're in the chrysalis right now. We're the bug soup. Or maybe I said we're the bug soup. I love thinking of it that way. But anyway, she says, we're in the chrysalis and the imaginal cells are coming to life. We're in that right now in this COVID experience. We're in that in our communities, in our homes, in our businesses, in our jobs, our partners, in our life. We get to decide. We get to choose to unleash, to live with the end in mind, to act with the end in mind, to be faithful to the assumption that the end that we dream is already so, and allow it to come through us and be that caterpillar turning into that beautiful butterfly. We have to make that choice. It takes courage though, right? It takes courage to show up and be our best self, our best expression in this life. I love the E.E. Cummings quote that says, it takes courage to show up and become who you really are. Who you really are is the divine. Who you really are is the divine. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. And the Word became flesh and lived among us. But actually, that's the wrong, poor translation. It really said the Word became flesh and lives in us. It didn't live among us as one person. The master teacher, Jesus the Christ, it lives in all of us, this creative force, this creative nature. This is who we are. This is how we are. Life is always inviting us to unleash the next great adventure. The next great adventure in living. But that's also, it's also very important that we do that while embracing right where we are as the adventure as well. Right? We don't want to be in this, when I get that experience, or when I get to go to the Great Smokies, I'll be living. No, we're living the adventure in our everyday. I'm going to talk more about that next week, so stay tuned for the culmination of the adventure series next Sunday. But I want to think about it like, when you think about, I want to share it, how it comes to me. When you are unleashing your adventure, think of it as broadcasting. Think of it as like right here, right now, in this beautiful mountain setting, in the ethers, in the air around me, there's radio waves, right? There's so many signals being broadcast. At any point, wherever we are, pretty much, you can tune in and hear a heavy metal song, you can hear a gospel song, you can hear this talk, you can hear so many things because of all the radio frequencies, all the things being broadcast. So don't think about your unleashing as you have to force a broadcast. The broadcast is happening. We are broadcasting all the time. We are broadcasting machines. Ernest Holmes said, every one of us is a living broadcast system. Every one of us is a living broadcast system. So we're constantly broadcasting. It's just a matter of what we're broadcasting. So we shouldn't really focus too much on the broadcast itself, but rather what it is that we're broadcasting. I remember being at the Asilomar conference. This comes back around to broadcasting, but bear with me, because we need to be broadcasting abundance and love and truth and enoughness, right? So I'll get to that. But I remember being at the Asilomar conference one year, and I walked in and I was so happy. I'd been there a few years at this point and felt like just another home away from home. And I loved all the people that I was able to see once a year at this conference. And I was always seeing faces that I loved dearly, but I only saw once a year. And I walked in the Merrill Hall, the big hall where everyone gathered for most of the meetings. And there was this beautiful smiling face. And I ran up to him and I hugged him and I said, "Oh, I love you. I love you. I love you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. It's so good to see you." Pull back, and he looked and he smiled and he said, "You too." And I went, "Oh, wow. Oops, almost turned you over there. I'm connected." Whoopsie. Sorry, had a little adventure on my own over here. Anyway, I looked back and I jumped back and I was like, "You're not Paul." And he was like, "Nope." Patrick, good to meet you. So my now dear friend, Reverend Dr. Patrick Cameron from Edmonton, Alberta, he didn't know me and I didn't know him, but I was so excited and broadcasting love that I attracted love, and we just ran right into each other. But he was quoted in the Science of Man magazine recently, and it reminded me of that story. But his quote in there was, "If I determine that more than enough is who I am, then everything I have and everything I do is influenced by my more than enough consciousness." Hear that again. If I determine that more than enough is who I am, then everything I have and everything I do is influenced by the consciousness of more than enough. This then becomes what I broadcast and what I attract. You see, if we're broadcasting, I'm not enough, I'm all alone, this pandemic is never going to be over, our world is never going to be any good, it's never going to be a safe place, I'm so afraid. If we're broadcasting that, I am not enough, I am less than, then we are going to pull that to us. It is the way the law of mind action or the law of attraction, whatever you want to call it, that law works. These spiritual laws that govern the universe give back to us what we give out in a predominant thinking and feeling nature every time. It may take a short amount of time here and a longer amount of time there, but it happens. And so we want to determine and develop and cultivate and continually broadcast a more than enough consciousness, a consciousness of abundance, of self-worth, of love, of kindness, of unity, of connection. And so I started thinking about this the other night, and I just went on a rampage and I started writing. I started writing on the just typing out affirmations. And then I remembered this page that we have on Facebook. We started when we first started the church. It's called Daily Affirmations. Look it up on Facebook. It's a page out there. You can join us. And I started posting affirmations again and saying, okay, y'all, let's get back to this. Let's do this again. And people started posting again. But here are some of mine. Here's some of the stuff that I am continually reminding myself so that I'm broadcasting what I want to receive back, so that I'm unleashing the right kind of adventure, right? Because adventure, remember, can be perilous. It can be dangerous. It can be scary. Or it could be, woo, it's exciting and fun and a joy. So I am choosing, and I invite you to do the same, to broadcast, I am more than enough. I am healthy, wealthy, happy, and free. I am loved, loving, and lovable. I move freely with the process of life. That's one of my favorites. A whole page. Here's some more. Ready? I love my life and life loves me. I am safe, supported. I am safe and supported by a loving universal presence. I act with courage and connect with compassion. Yes, I will post these later. I can already hear you asking for that. I live in an expectancy of good. Love that one. I place my trust in the inexhaustible flow of spirit. Oh, here's one of my favorites. I use this all the time. And it's so awesome how it happens, how it works, how it shows up. I have more than I need before I need it. I am prosperous. I have more than I need before I need it. I am prosperous. I have more than I need before I need it. I have said that at times when anybody looking at my circumstances would have been shaking their head going, how can you say that? But I felt it and I knew it because God is my only source. So I have more than I need before I need it. I am prosperous. My body is healthy, strong, flexible, and comfortable. My body is healthy, strong, flexible, and comfortable. I'm going to remember that later when I move out of this fixed position that I realize I have to stand in, or my microphone cord will pull the camera over and we'll be done here. So I'm standing kind of like this on the side of a mountain, but it's all good. Because, why? Because my body is healthy, strong, flexible, and comfortable. My mind is clear, confident, and at peace. I continually unleash my life's greatest adventures. Life is fun and free and always for me. Life is fun and free and always for me. I commit to my health, happiness, peace, passion, and purpose. Or how about my relationship is beautiful, thriving, and always an adventure that is filled with love and joy, and you never know when she's going to come frolicking out of the woods. Where was I? I commit to health, happiness, peace, passion, and purpose. Oh, I know. My life is fulfilling and fun. I am a source of comfort to myself and others. You see, I was just going at it, right? I am filled with an inexhaustible supply of love, health, money, energy, and joy. My life is balanced, harmonious, prosperous, and fun. It's not hard to flip the script on your life, and it's necessary. When you start having those, going down the rabbit hole of worry, going down the rabbit hole of not enough, of any type of thing that you're disaster fantasizing about that might happen, that you're afraid will happen, flip the script. Write an affirmation. Be in the positive, in the here, in the now, as if it were already so. Believe it is so. It is done unto you as you believe. And in honor of our beautiful, beautiful Bishop Dr. Barbara Lewis King, who just made her transition at the beautiful age of 90 after teaching so many in this world how to live from that light of truth. She always said this was her prayer, her affirmation. God is my health, I cannot be sick. God is my strength, unfailing quick. God is my all, I know no fear, since God and love and truth are here. God and love and truth are here. I'm so grateful for her and the many teachers out there that remind us of the truth of our being. She was, in her own words, when someone would make their transition, who was living this truth teaching, she would say, oh, a giant tree has fallen. So a giant tree has fallen with the passing of Bishop Dr. Barbara Lewis King. However, she is celebrated around the world because she took these ideas that I'm sharing with you today and she unleashed the adventure of her life. On Thursday, before she passed on Sunday, she was laying in the bed in beautiful, vibrant clothes, beautiful, vibrant colors, saying, I'm God's woman and God makes me beautiful. I'm God's woman and God keeps me beautiful. And I'm a spiritual diva. I'm a diva. I'm a spiritual diva, she said. She lived the adventure. She lived it. And so we celebrate her, all of us who had the pleasure of meeting her, or even those who have taken classes with me or consider me your teacher. She taught you too because she taught me to live from this place of knowing that the Word is made flesh and it is in us. And the Word is creative. That's our word, our thought, our emotion, our being is creative. You see, it doesn't matter the terrain that you think you're going to go out there and traverse. It doesn't matter if you've been there before. It doesn't matter if you think you know how good life can get. It can always get better. Unleash the adventure that you are here to live.